Hey, how's it going? So just started this. 2 minutes to go before it's 5 o'clock. Figured I'd go ahead and jump right in, see if anybody was watching. If not, there's a few things I wanted to cover. Questions that people have been asking. So, alright. I wanted to see if... No one yet. I'm still learning how to use Livestream apps. So, bear with me. Oh, 3 people. Hey, how's it going? Are you my subscribers? Yeah, so this is the first ever live stream for this channel. I would like to use this camera, but I don't have the proper cord to do it. Then I'm getting it though. I have it ordered, and when that comes in, I'll be able to attach it straight to my computer in there, and it'll be a better setup than out here in the garage with my phone. But I'm in the middle of working on projects anyways, so I figured why not just bring the phone out here instead of being in there? And I figured we could answer some of the questions that people have about the various armor that I'm working on. So, we got 3 people watching right now. Alright, well, I guess let's just get started. Let's see, live chat. Let's do that. So, if you guys have any questions for me, let me know. We'll go ahead. Sorry. Just wanted to see, because I can't quite see top chat. Haven't seen any chats quite yet. Can you guys hear me? Anybody want to say something at me so that way I know if it's working right? Oh, thank you. Demon Powers. Or Damon Powers? I appreciate it. I'm not used to live streaming and everything, so. Alright. I guess let's go ahead and get started with what my projects are, and also kind of the direction I'm going with my channel. So, thank you. Yeah, I needed to know whether or not the sound was good. So, I don't have a microphone for my phone, so, you know, whether or not you can hear me well. Anyways, hey, Brookfang Mage Punk. Hey, how's it going? What's up, man? You're one of the few people that have followed me since like the beginning almost, I think, right? Yeah. So anyways, obviously I want to get a better microphone for this camera, because this is what I use. I want to invest in another camera too. I want to improve my video quality overall, and I have a friend that recently said he would be willing to kind of learn how to do camera so I can focus on my work. Because when I piece together armor and stuff, it's difficult for me to focus on both recording and working on my projects. You know, I'm really focused on this, and then I just turn on the camera, and what ends up happening is I ramble on when I'm editing, because I have all this footage, you know, like hours and hours of footage that I'm trying to condense down to make sense to someone that's viewing. I don't plan out my video, I plan out my project, and I think that the quality is often a problem. So I'm really appreciative of my friend for stepping up and saying, hey man, you know, like, your stuff's awesome, but I think I can help you with that. So new camera, new mic, and someone actually recording. So hopefully in the next few projects we're going to see, you know, better quality. All right, anyways, I wanted to talk about HDPE because everybody's been asking me about that and some of the other projects. I wanted to know, is there anybody has a question right offhand that I could answer of any particular project you want to see done or something I've done? Because I'm just gonna keep rambling on about like the various things. Oh, check this out. While we're talking about that, haha, 12 by 10 plate. Look at that curve, right? I'm going to put Luan over it and then build it up 2.5 layers. This is going to be our chest. Take off. Look at that. Did you? Yeah, okay, so I was wrong. I always assumed, mainly because the ones that I had seen in the past were low density polyethylene. Polyethylene can be found in numerous sources. The main reason why I focused on milk jugs and water jugs is it's close to virgin, doesn't have any additives, right? And I wanted to test just that. I was unaware of the fact that bags could be high density polyethylene, and I think that they started switching to mostly using, hey, how's it going? They mostly switched to using that because they can make it thinner. So low density polyethylene is not nearly as strong, obviously, as high density. Molecular chain isn't as strong, so it rips a lot quicker. So you can make a thinner bag with high density polyethylene. I was unaware of that. That's kind of a lot of companies switch to actually using most bags. No, I haven't tried it because, like I said, every time I looked at them, it was like LDPE. Like, okay, that's not going to work for what I want to do. And someone, it might have been you, Brookfang, that suggested it, and I was like, all right, I'll look into it. And I started pulling out those bags. My wife and I use renewable bags. Like we don't really use the disposable if we can get away from it, but I started collecting them, and it's like every single one from multiple companies, Kroger, Martin's, Walmart, that sort of thing, all had it. And I was like, you probably could. It's very thin. It'd be kind of difficult to mold that. It's almost too thin. So no, I haven't tried it. I will though. If enough people want to see me try it, yeah, I'll give it a shot just to see. I mean, you're not going to get a lot of plastic out of it, but I guess at the same time, you're probably going to get a lot of them, right? So it's like there's that trade-off. The nice thing about milk jugs is 5 of them can be made into a plate like this, right? And like that. 5 of them can be made into something like that. Look at those bullets stuck into it, right? So you could get quite a bit more mileage out of it, but there are plenty of other sources for high-density polyethylene. It's a very, extremely common plastic. Folgers cans, whey canisters. I mean, once you start looking for it, you'll find it everywhere. The main reason why I focused on just that type and that specific is that it's the closest to, because it doesn't have any dye in it, and it's as close to just being a virgin, like it, it's molded into it, and then it gets, obviously, whatever the product is placed into it, and then it gets shipped off. Rarely is that a recycled. So it's only had like one cycle being produced when it gets there. Rarely do those companies recycle those. So it's like it's only been recycled once, because that matters. Over time, recycling will break down that plastic to the point where it's no longer usable. So there is a limit to it. How many milk jugs do you think it would take to make a senpai plate? Quite sure what you mean by that plate. Senpai plate. Senpai plate? I'm not sure what that is. Are you talking about chest plate? Because for my 12 by 10, right, that'll cover all the vital organs, it would definitely be 25 to 30 for full coverage. 25 to 30 milk jugs. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Yeah, 10 by 12 plate. Oh, okay. Yeah, now I understand. Yes, a 10 by 12. That's exactly what that is. That's, I mean, obviously I have the 2 inch for the shoulders, but yes, yes, 25 by 30, or 25 to 30. It really depends on how big you are too, because I'm what you would consider average size, right, for most males. So 10 by 12 would work. If you're a bigger guy, you would want slightly altered measurements. You'd put the 10 by 12, and it wouldn't cover all the vitals. But yeah, to finish what you were saying though, or what I was saying to you, Brokefang, is that yeah, I'll check into bags. I just don't know if you could. I mean, maybe you could get enough of them to make it relevant, but I don't know. You know, I've never really tested just mixing a bunch of HDPE from multiple sources. You know, from oh well, this canister and this bag and this thing, and tried to make a plate out of it. I've always tried to keep it like consistent. I don't know how it would work because I've never really tried it, and that's kind of interesting because it's like maybe it would be pretty awesome. You know, maybe that would be great. It's hot in my garage. I don't know if you could tell. Anyways, from black, so they were making plate carry from black HDPE advantage. This lighter and can still float compared to a standard AR-15 steel. Wait, hold on. Oops. I didn't see that second one. Lucky you, still in the U.S. Here in Europe, they banned plastic bags for only made of recycled LDPE. Really? Oh, so we have somebody from the UK. That's awesome. Hi, man. Okay, well, that makes it tough, right? If you're trying to get a whole, so they banned all high density polyethylene over there. You can't find any other container. Hardly any containers. All right, so dyes might weaken plastics, by the way, but hardly any containers. Really? That does make it more challenging, but not impossible. Not impossible, right? So, most fuel canisters are high density polyethylene, right? Because it doesn't leach and it won't allow moisture absorption. It doesn't take water like other plastics do. So that would probably be a good way to get a hold of it. Like a lot of septic tanks are made out of it. Large tanks, are made out of high density polyethylene. It's universally it's an amazing plastic. I mean, yeah, it's awful for the environment. Don't get it messed up. It doesn't break like a lot of other plastics. It doesn't undergo well, it can be broken down by by ultraviolet radiation like some plastics, but man, not as much as others. There are plenty of others that are way worse. But you were saying black HDPE? I've never really heard of that. See, a lot of like you can add dyes, and I wonder if there's an additive. Polyethylene doesn't really bind to other plastics, which is why you don't see a lot of hybrids like Kydex, right? I actually have some Kydex right here. It's very common if you have any blades like swords, swords, knives, guns. You probably have a holster made out of Kydex, which is a combination of two different polymers, PVC and acrylic. I think it's PVC, or it may be PET. But either way, it's two of them. HDPE can't really be done like that. It doesn't form those same molecular chains with other polymers. It's very non-reactive. So that's a good thing and a bad thing. In one hand, you can't really do any like fun experiments where you try to make it into a hybrid because it's not going to react with anything. So I'm kind of curious of if it was black HDPE, that means they're adding something to it. It might be a ceramic, Like, I've done ceramic particle enhancement and metal particle enhancement, and both of those didn't really show great results, but that doesn't mean that I didn't use the right one, right? I just used steel in one of the instances, uh, like steel powder, or iron powder, I should say, and boron powder. And one of them worked pretty well, but it wasn't with HDPE. But, anyways, that's interesting. I'll have to look into that black HDPE that you're talking about. I don't know what additives they add. If I can find it, I'll try it. So anyways, but yeah, so obviously HDPE is probably, I mean, that's the number one question I'm asked out of all my videos that I've produced. From the things you mentioned. Yeah. Yeah, if you can get into the dumpsters and slowly collect it, I think that he's right. I should check bags. If people are having a hard time finding HDPE in other places of the world, I'll try every single container, and I'll make a mix mash, because I'm currently molding these plates, right? Yeah, let me cover that real quick, guys. So I'm revisiting this because this has more than half of my views on my YouTube channel is all about this right here. High density polyethylene. That's the thing that people, because it worked. Like, and I'm not joking, I've tested this multiple times. I can keep pulling out plates where I've tested it and it has stopped rounds. That's very impressive for a plastic that's not hard to find. It's very easy to find this. And it's very effective if you mold it correctly. I should mention that because I've seen some people test this and they honestly didn't do a great job at molding it. Properly compressing it into a shape is critical for getting it to work right. It is critical. Getting it to that temperature and maintaining it. 325 degrees Fahrenheit to 325 degrees Fahrenheit to 350 degrees Fahrenheit are hypercritical to molding that. And that's one of the other reasons why I use this type of plastic, like from milk jugs and water jugs, is it turns transparent. If there's a dye in it, you can't really tell sometimes. But when it's just the virgin, doesn't have anything added to it, it will turn completely clear. And you can look at it and go, oh, okay, it's ready to be folded. When you're working with this stuff, you want to fold it multiple times, getting rid of any creases in it. If it comes out wavy, that means you didn't put enough tension on it. It shrinks when it cools, right? So when you melt it down in your oven, it'll seem like it shrinks, but it actually is covering more surface area. So you start folding it up and you get this big glob, right? And you want to keep folding it until there's not a crease in that glob. When we cover this, which is going to be the next video, okay? When we cover this, I will show you in detail what it looks like when it's right and when it's wrong. I will specifically make one wrong so you guys can be like, oh, okay, if it looks like that, don't do it. This looks like it wasn't milk jugs before, right? Even with the bullets in it. Okay? Yeah, there's cracks now from all the bullets, right? That looks like a uniform, like I just bought this from a company. And I bought it. This doesn't look like milk jugs. If it looks all like you just lightly glued it together, it's not going to work. Get a good mold. When you plan out a mold, plan it out. Like, I want a chest plate. I want a 10 by 12. This one, I took and I was like, all right, I want it, 10 by 12. And I cut these strips, cut the 45s, glued and stapled it together. Now I have this arch. You tried nylon rope in your HT, right? What was the issue with it, and could it change metal during molding? Oops. Okay, so yeah, you're talking about, yeah. Wow, that was a while ago. All right, I added HD. Actually, I might have that plate still up here. I keep it kind of as an inspiration up here against my wall. Is that this one? No, it's not. All right, sorry. It must be tucked away. I've been kind of tucking other projects away. Okay, I added nylon to it as I was when I first made. All right, so when I made my first HDPE plate and I shot it, right, it started to crack. It did here too. Some stress fractures from multiple shots. And when I saw that, I said, I wonder if I add some fabric in it, would it hold it together so it doesn't, break apart and shatter? So I added it to it. And when I shot it, the bullet went right through. And I was like, So I tried it again. The bullet went right through. I think that adding the nylon created weak points inside of the resin because it didn't fully adhere inside. Something like that. I'm not entirely sure what one of the things it did do. Sorry for stuttering there. What it did do was it prevented it from getting shattered when you were hitting it with like a big hammer or something, and you're trying to break it up. Because you could eventually work this down. If you just kept beating it with a hammer, it'll break apart. It will form cracks and shatter. Not like ceramic, but you'll see the cracks forming, and eventually it'll break pieces apart and separate. When it comes to when I added the nylon to it, it didn't do that. So I assumed that meant that it would be able to take better impacts just by adding the nylon. The thing that surprised me the most is wrapping it with just simple fiberglass exceeded my expectations. Like, this is not thick fiberglass. That's not a lot of layers. Sorry. Not a lot of layers. And it stopped an incredible amount of beating just with this added, compared to it without anything. And I've been racking my brain, why is that? I kind of think it's because it's compressing the plate. So the plastic, when the bullet hits, it undergoes plastic deformation. So it'll either crack or it'll slowly mushroom out, right? You can see it, how that plastic grips around it. It's not just shattering like a ceramic. It's actually creating these ridges, these domes, right? You can see them. Almost like putty. You know what I mean? The reason it works so well is because you press it, it was delamination. You have several small layers of HDPE. I can't. Man, it gets rid of the comments a little too quick for me to read. HDPE thin. Yeah, if you made it knee pads, you could make it all sorts of pads. It's weird that like my namesake is more about HDPE armor, because it was something a friend just suggested I test, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? My biggest thing was polycarbonate. That was like the plastic I was really looked into to make plates out of, because it is amazing, like hands down. But there's something unique happening when you compress these, when you compress them well. And so what I've done, let's just go ahead and talk about that. What I'm going to do, maybe because I like polycarbonate too. Yeah. What I want to do is I've got pounds and pounds of high density polyethylene sitting here, right? I'm going to test every little variable from multiple resins, metal, ceramic added to it. I'm going to try different fabrics, and we're going to keep doing these 5x5s. And whatever wins out of this 5x5 is going to be made into this. Right? That's what I'm looking to do. Is that whatever this succeeds is going to be made out of the chest plate and the side plates, because I'm going to make a full. That's what this is. I was already cutting it up. I have it just bandaged up so it doesn't all fall apart right now, right? This is the side plates. And I am sweating so much. What is it like where you guys are living? There was one guy from Europe. Is it cool there? Because it is hot here in northern Indiana. Jesus Christ. Oh my gosh. How are you guys doing with these riots, huh? Hot and humid? Where are you from? Army Aloof TV? What about you? You alright out there? I've just been stuck. Northern... That's so cool. So cool that you guys are from so many different places. You're from Canada? Both? 14C right now? That's cool, right? You gotta remember we use Fahrenheit over here. 58, okay, thank you. You're just like, alright, don't have to, yeah. I could, yeah, it was close. It was 58. 58. You can tell it's like, yeah, us Americans, we don't, if we don't have to learn it, I'm like, I'm not going to dedicate brain power. That's I've thought about putting up like for different temperatures on, for my builds, just so people from other countries can be like, oh, okay, he means that. 58. Yeah. It's hot. It's like 90 degrees. That's the worst part about living here in northern Indiana, is it'll go from being freezing cold to boiling hot in one day. Like you can get all four seasons in one day, especially when you're close to these lakes. I'm right underneath the tip of Lake Michigan, right? It's like a half an hour drive from here. And we get all this snow, all just I mean, yeah, you get four seasons, but then you get all, four more. Portugal is pretty hot over here. 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Ooh. Is it dry? It's wet here. We have Indiana has like a wet season almost, and it's like early spring or late spring, early summer, where it's humid and sticky, and you're like, yeah, all right. It's night here. That's so crazy that it's so weird that I have people from all over the world watching me talk about this stuff. That weirds me out. I mean, it's awesome. I love that I can here's this. I can tell when something's kind of going down in a country based on how much views I get from that country. Is that weird? Like what I mean by that is when Hong Kong was doing all those protests, right? And they still are, right? It's still happening. You see the undercoat stuck to my neck because that's what I do for a living, and no matter what, I can't get it off my frickin' skin. Anyways, but the only time I ever had views from Hong Kong, and I had like 300, all in like a few days. It was like, have you ever thought of making a Discord where people can join and give ideas? No, I don't know what Discord is. Isn't that no riots in Canada yet that I know of, but they are copying beyond. Yes, I know. Where I live, there's been some demonstrations. Everything's been peaceful. Luckily, but Israel is protesting too. Really? All over the world. Yeah. I'm surprised about a lot of things, but by this point, it's just But what I was gonna say, did you? Yeah, greetings from Germany. Hey, Turtle 3, you're from Germany? How's it going, bud? Did your views improve when riots started? Yes, they did. That's what I was gonna say. Yes, they did. When some of the riots were happening, or not riots, but the protests were happening out in Berkeley, I noticed an increase in California. When I can almost follow when Hong Kong was rioting, when it first started, people were looking up, in particular, this high density polyethylene. Not my bulletproof glass, not my hat, not my mask, this. When people start getting shot, people start looking for armor, right? Regardless of what side of the political spectrum or anything, when people start getting hurt, people start thinking about how to protect themselves. And it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, we're sitting at about 60,000 views, and I see huge increases when that happened. Yeah, well, Hong Kong isn't necessarily. I don't know what the rules are. Am I allowed to vape on here? Here, hold on. Yeah, there we go. Anyways, I don't think Hong Kong produces that much HDPE. I think you're thinking of mainland China. I don't know what all Hong Kong produces. But either way, you know, protesters might not be. People are when people get desperate, they're like, well, what can I do in a quick situation? And like, well, oh wow, this guy made armor. It's like, I asked another YouTuber. Plus, in Canada, you need firearms license if you want your own body armor. Yeah, yeah, I know. I actually have a friend from Canada, and he was talking about all the different hassles you have to go through in order to get that. It's crazy. Yeah, it's nice to live in the States. I have access to firearms. The Ukraine Revolution? Yeah, but it just shows you though when people are desperate for things. They didn't have much, but they put up a good fight. I'll have to check it out. I'm not really sure what. Yeah, though I reached out to Tough Later Mouse because he's one of the few YouTubers. Were you talking about different HDPE? No problem, Turtle. We'll get back to HDPE. Yeah, because that's kind of what we're revolved around. Um, but what I was gonna say is finish this thought. I reached out to him because he's the only YouTuber to ever comment back. Right? I've reached out. A lot of people are like, hey, why don't you try out, Demolition Ranch in this place, in this place. I've reached out to them, and a lot of them, yeah, they are really nice on the stream. There's not a lot of you though. There's only like 7 or 8. So I guess it's easy to be nice when there's not a huge crowd and someone just coming in trolling us. But yeah, he was the only one to comment back, and I was like, hey, the Hong Kong protest. Did you notice a spike in some of his armor builds, things he's tested out? He's like, yeah. And then he did a video because so many of them were asking him, like, hey, can this cheap eBay armor work? And things like that. And he if you go to his channel, he talks about that. And you're like, wow, they reached out to him. I didn't have anybody from Hong Kong ask me about this. At least I don't know. No one asked me specifically from Hong Kong, like, hey, can other types of HDPE work? Do I need to compress it? What are the temperatures? Anything like that. I didn't get it, but I noticed a huge influx in views. But he's been the only YouTuber that I've ever reached out to that has, like, we've actually had a small conversation. Nothing big. I'm not saying, like, oh, I've had long conversations with this guy, but I've reached out to other guys, and I've never heard anything back. So that's why I've never, like, sent anything in to anybody else. You know what I mean? So, anyways, what was the other question? I can't really easily bring up. Seems like, were you talking about different We were talking about different HDPE sources, from bags to other containers, and you know they would definitely work. My fear is consistency, right? Like I would be afraid of, if you have something with a dye in it, you don't know what grade they used. The nice thing about having all milk jugs, all water jugs, is that you know for sure consistently what grade they're doing. But at the same time, if you were to take one of these other companies' material and you just kept testing it over and over, you would find that it would be consistent. So I don't know. When I do this again, which is my next video, right? Which is high density polyethylene, I'll make one just of random things from high density polyethylene. Enough people want to see it. I'll chop up a Folger skin. I have a whey can over there. I have some HDPE bags. I'll chop them all up, mold it into a plate, and we'll just see. We'll see. So that way you can tell, like maybe, you know, because it binds to itself really well. It just doesn't bind to other plastics really well. So another thing I want to cover, you guys can continue asking questions, but I'm revisiting my bulletproof glass video. I want to go ahead and mention that because I have this. I'm really excited about finally redoing that. I have sheets of acrylic coming in, of different grades of acrylic. I have multiple different sheets of polycarbonate. I have different types of glass. I have different types of window film. And now I have things that will specifically bind it without ruining the optical clarity. How far time-wise are you from Charleston? Indiana? I don't know. I would have to look that up. I have no idea. I'm Elkhart, Indiana. Okay, so if you were just curious. Elkhart, that's like the center top right underneath Michigan. I'm just a few hours out of Indy and a few hours out of Chicago. Like either way, I can make it to Fort Wayne, Chicago, or Indy. So I know quite where Charleston is. Yeah, so well, one of my future projects is I want to make a full helmet. Hold on for 1 second. Let me get this. A friend let me borrow this, and I was investigating it. Yes, the glue is definitely one of the hardest things I had with glue was that it always hazed polycarbonate. Like, oh, this won't haze it. This won't call blushing. It won't blush it. It won't make it like haze. That's the best way to describe it. I don't know why they call it blushing. It's just it can be affected by humidity and obviously what you're using. It's like, oh, it'll make it clear. And I would try it and try it and try it, and it wouldn't work. I was like, And then I would read on these forums, people were like, oh, well, it has to be dried for this long, and so I'd try it again, and it would still blush. And eventually I saw someone was like, oh, yeah, don't mess with that. It's inconsistent. Use this. And I tried it, and guess what? Guess what happened? It was, hold on. If I can, it's stuck to this. Hold on. It was clear. Right? You can see the angle. I tested it. So, it didn't haze it. That was just a little sample piece I cut off, by the way, and I put it on the edge because before it would blush. And I'd stick something to it, and it would still blush in between the layers. So I was thinking like, oh, maybe if I put more clamping pressure, whatever. This stuff, I've already tested it, just came in today. No blushing, none of that haze. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want to make it. $300 bulk? Whoops. Sorry. I've shot 2 pieces of 3/4 inch. I glued to super glued. So you did use super glue and shattered into a ton of pieces, and I lost to a 300 bulk. Do you know? 300 blackout. On, do you know what is that on curve? Okay, well, all right, slow down. Whoa, is it 556 neck? I have necked up to a 308. I've heard of a blackout. Is that what that is? Yeah, yeah. So to answer the 3/4 inch acrylic. Acrylic is very hard. Okay, I'm gonna go back up. It's very hard, but it's not shatterproof. Polycarbonate is what you want. Polycarbonate is the plastic that'll stop bullets by itself. Acrylic will to some degree, but as you pointed out, it will shatter. It will fragment. If you laminate polycarbonate, acrylic, polycarbonate, it will not shatter like that. You'll have small fractures. And that's what I'm trying to do, is that high-grade bulletproof glass is made out of layers of polycarbonate, acrylic, polycarbonate, or shatter-resistant glass and polycarbonate. You can get really thick acrylic by itself and it will stop bullets. But like you pointed out, it will shatter. Put acrylic in front of it. Yeah, well, you can sandwich it. Most companies sandwich it. Like, it'll go polycarbonate, acrylic, polycarbonate. Like, and it'll use a thicker grade of polycarbonate. I have a... well, I'm going to do that video. So if you want to wait off whoever did... I didn't see the name. For the 3/4 inch acrylic. What grade? Was it... like, that's an important question, too. What grade did you use? Offhand, do you know? Like, do you know the exact numbers? Because that's kind of important. Oh, man, so many questions all at once. Sorry. A friend of mine gave me this helmet because it didn't fit him. This is a military style helmet. And I guarantee you it's made of ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. Right? And I was studying how they made it. How they got this shape. Because this is a military helmet. Right? That's the cool thing about the United States. We can just buy surplus, right? The inside? Sure. It was from a front door window? Do you want me to film glass? What is the bulletproof film for glass made of? What could you oh, the shatter resistant is almost always made out of polycarbonate. Guarantee you. 100%. Just because I look at what it uses to adhere, it's polycarbonate. A lot of companies are very proprietary with their shatter resistant material. Almost, it can be PET. PET is... I was hoping that my anonymous mask would blow up with views, but it hasn't yet. But that's why I made it. Polycarbonate is the best plastic. Go to freckleface.com. They ship internationally, and they're really cheap, man. You can get a bundle deal of scraps and cutoffs for cheap, like $25, and you can get like, I think it's like 10 pounds of just from their deal. If you're just trying to make a visor or something, that's the way to go. Of various thicknesses, same grade, which is... they make bulletproof glass at freckleface.com. If you just look up freckleface, one word, .com, I'll put it in the description so you can go there. They sell really good polyacrylic and really polycarbonate here in the States for a really good price. And they do ship internationally. And I buy from them almost exclusively now. I was using E-Plastics, but the fact that they sell just their cutoffs, because they will cut any piece for you. If you're like, hey, I want this dimension by this dimension, like for a visor or whatever, you give them the dimensions, and they're like, oh, yeah, sure. A surcharge of like $5. They'll cut your polycarbonate of whatever thickness to that. Boom. There you go. Like, for real, you don't have to buy huge sheets. You can have like, oh, like if you know your dimensions, and you're like, oh, I want a 6x2 by, you know what I mean? Send it to them. And they're like, oh, $5. We'll cut it for you right there of whatever thickness. You know, you want UV grade, where it'll block out ultraviolet radiation and all sorts of other stuff, they'll, they'll apply that film for you right there for not a lot of money. I have plastic specifically coming from them, hopefully to buy tomorrow, so we can make bulletproof glass because I trust their company. It's great. 80 to $100 for a riot visor? That is a ripoff. How thick is it? That's why I got into making. Yeah, jerry rig. Yeah, for sure. I wonder how thick it is, because you could totally. That's what I wanted to do. Was so like with this helmet, it's got this drop down for the ears. I kind of wonder. Hold on, someone else is saying an eighth of an inch for $80 to $100. Wow, I'll do it for you for cheaper. You want to give me money? I'll start my own company for $100. Man, those dudes are making hand over fist for that. It's like what, $15 worth of plastic, if that. If you buy in bulk, come on. But they got to make money too, I guess. Yeah, sorry for the bad video quality too. This is my first time doing this. It's been pretty intense. I have all this stuff written out, and it's sitting back here, and I'm like, and I'm just focused on this. It's kind of nice though, actually having a conversation with you guys. It's really kind of surreal having actually talking to the people that watch my videos on a regular, or at least support me in some way. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of surreal. And I want to do this monthly. And I think the more I do it, it might look like crap now, and I apologize. I really do. But I hope with time it'll improve. And I'm really trying to dedicate to making my videos and this live stream sort of stuff better quality. Like, this will be the only time it's with my phone. Every time after that, it's going to be with a decent microphone. So, anyways, yeah. But any other questions? I know you guys were talking about HDPE. Oh yeah, let me finish. I want to talk to you guys about. Okay, so obviously you guys are interested in my armor, high density polyethylene in particular. You also want to know about polycarbonate. Those videos are the next ones coming up. I just want to go ahead and say that. It's going to take a little bit of time because I'm still waiting for that to come in. I have another thing I might upload before then, which is going to be a cool suit apparatus. You know what? We'll save that off for the reveal. But there are a few other things I want to test out. Yeah, let me just go ahead and go over this. So I'm going to redo these plates, changing a bunch of variables, making them a little bit thicker until we stop a 5.56 or a 7.62 by 39, because those are the two calibers I'm asked about the most. So I said, you know what? That's what my goal is to stop that by using metal, ceramic, different fabrics, different resins, with HDPE as the base. And if that works, we go on to a full plate. And from there, I also want to go out and test polycarbonate, and we're going to try to make full inserts and then a full suit of some kind. I have other things that I've been working on that I will also test out at that time. But there are a few other projects I want to put up on my channel, but I don't know if you guys would be as interested in. Because really, my channel has become just purely about armor, which is not a problem. If you tried most fabrics, will canvas from Carhartt work pants tough enough to... That's a good question. I don't know what that material is offhand. I wanted to try hemp fabric. So yeah, I'll answer that in just 1 second. I wanted to do... There was a few weapons, like non-lethal weapons I wanted to build. Kind of a fun thing. Someone asked me to build a bow not too long ago. So I was thinking... Yeah. I know that there's I don't have access to green tip offhand. I don't even have access to a 5.56. I have to ask somebody to use it. Like I have a friend that will come out. But that's the thing is a lot of people have taken interest in actually helping me recently. And that's really opened up. I didn't have a range except for a very local, close by range. So when I wanted to test this stuff, I had to like jump through all these hoops because most ranges don't want you testing that you made out at their range, especially indoor ranges. They're like, no, get the hell out of here. Like, what are you doing? Like, no, we're not. So whatever. So I had to find a local place, and they only used handguns there. And I was like, all right, I respect that. I'm not gonna challenge it. But everybody's like, hey, can it work against shotguns and rifles? It's like, well, I don't know. And finally, my father found a place, and we started doing tests. But then he moved, and but I recently I actually have like, 2 to 3 different places I can test at now, and that's been awesome, freaking awesome. Especially now that we're out of quarantine and people aren't freaking out and scared, in this area. Like, oh, I don't know if we can, do this, blah 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 blah. But now people are like, yeah, yeah, come on over. So it really opens up my ability to go out and test these different things. You know what I mean? But so here are a few things I want to do in the future. I was curious if you guys were interested in this sort of stuff. I wanted to make a composite bow, like a recurve bow, from scratch, out of carbon fiber and resin. I wanted to make a yeah, I will test it on clay, and I will do a virgin plate just to see if it will stop HDPE. But yeah, so I wanted to do a boomerang, a bow, out of carbon fiber and other things. Tech Ingredients made a teaser for homemade armor, and it looked like balls inside of a Kevlar pouch. That is interesting. I don't know if it would bounce around as much. That kind of reminds me of, I've seen a wall design. Oh, hold on for 1 second. We'll get right to that. Porcelain tiles. Yeah, for sure. Porcelain. Porcelain is definitely something you want to look into on top of. Yeah, you like the bow idea? Porcelain on top of HDPE. I'll tell you right now that works. That works really well. I'm still gauging the thickness I want my plates to be out of, but porcelain on top of HDPE works insanely well. That especially if you wrap it in some fabric, because then it shatters and fragments, and by the time the bullet hits that HDPE, it's lost a lot of its force. So I wanted to do bolas. Just segue perfectly into it. I wanted to do some sort of bola where you can, swing and throw it out of elastic material. Yeah, dragon skin. So you're thinking of scale mail. Yeah. Well, let's not even talk about all the crazy shit that went on with with quarantine, right? Uh, but I wanted to make a few skateboards. I wanted to also look into, this is completely out of the scope of my channel. It's something. No, no. I mean, I agree with, like, yeah, like quarantine was, man, it was a night. I had a kid in the middle of quarantine, right? I'm a father now, and it's awesome. And the hospital regulations changed every day while we were up there. She was a week premature. It was intense. It was an intense time. And then I started getting a chest infection, and I was losing my mind. Like, seriously, it was terrifying because I was like, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I had a little baby girl, Mabel Louise Stagg, and it's amazing. It's my first kid. But it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying at that time because it's like, well, can I even go up and see my kid? You know? Like, I just left, and I'm developing a chest infection. They're shutting this down. They're shutting this down. Thank you. Yeah, excited and terrified for me. I am terrified too. She's about 3 months old, and she's doing freaking awesome. It's been awesome. I love it. First kid. Appreciate it, man. Thanks, guys. But it was terrifying. And so yeah, when that was going down, I was really freaked out, you know. And yeah, kids are the best, man. We wanted them, but we didn't think we could have them. It depends on the type. Okay, so you're yeah. We'll talk about ceramics real quick. There, porcelain is a ceramic, but not all ceramics are porcelain. Porcelain is very hard. It's one of the hardest ceramics you can get. There are other types of ceramics, though, other material that can be made into ceramic. Does that make sense? So when you buy, hold on. Ah, come on. One second. I was just cutting this earlier. Of course, I completely misplaced. Ah, here we go. Sorry. When you buy ceramic tiles, make sure that it is a porcelain ceramic tile. Not all of them. I once saw a video by where he tested porcelain and ceramic tiles, and the porcelain performed better. Yeah, it's because of the hardness, I think. You know, like that's why you use ceramics or you use tiles made out of boron carbide or silica carbide. They're harder and they'd break up the bullet. And every test I've conducted so far, when I started making my own ceramics out of silica carbide and boron carbide, it blows it apart. You drop you drop stuff in. Oh, I get what you mean. Bullet resistant. All right, guys. All right. Yeah, the porcelain doesn't necessarily. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Anyways, porcelain it shatters in fragments, and it's very hard, and it breaks up that bullet a lot better than other ceramics. You're not stupid for not knowing that. I didn't know the difference between all of it. A video where you compare effectiveness of different ceramics. That would be an interesting video. Even throw in some stone, right? Because there's stone slate that people think is ceramic and it doesn't work. Yeah. You new baby. Yeah, I got the poop. I thought you were talking about. I've seen videos where people like light cherry bombs and try to flush them, and then they blow up the thing. That's what I was thinking, and I understand. Yeah, I appreciate it. On a live stream, I really need that right now. Anyways, uh, um, I don't even. Yeah, it would be kind of interesting to test all the different ceramics. Graphite, yeah, not surprised they're cheap. When I think of tech, yeah, okay, so you're bringing up the name. Good. Um, my my this this. Anyways, I was working on a cool suit apparatus, which will circulate coolant fluid over very specific membranes to help cool your body down. And it does have electronics in it. Yes, I was interested in that. The reason why my name, Tech This Out Meow, though, if you're curious about that, why such a weird, stupid name is because when I first started this channel, I forgot what my name was going to be. I wrote it down in a journal and I was ready to start filming, and my wife was the one that named it. Like, hey, how about Tech This Out Meow? My original name was going to be Practical Tactical. That was what the YouTube name was going to be. Isn't that ridiculous? It doesn't fit anymore. And so I put in Tech This Out, and that was my YouTube name. And then weeks later, I tried to show it to somebody, and I was like searching for it. And they couldn't find Tech This Out. It was hidden behind all these like techno groups and whatnot. So you couldn't find it in a normal YouTube search. And she was like, well, why don't you throw a meow at the end? So instead of Tech This or Check This Out Now, it was Tech This Out Meow. And that's how I got named. There it is. My wife named it. It was originally Practical Tactical. and I lost the piece of paper that said that, and I remembered it too late. And I could have changed it all this time, but now I'm just like, you know what? No, we're writing this thing until it's over. I don't care. I'm gonna write it until it's over. We're already over an hour, guys, and we have 12 people in the chat, so I guess we'll keep going as long as you guys want to go. I wasn't originally. I was expecting to just quickly maybe answer a few questions and brush over this, but you guys, no, not a bad name in my opinion. Thank you. Thank my wife. She's the one that named it, and you know what? I'm proud of it now. I'm not like dissing it. I like the fact that my name is Tech This Out Meow. It's like, thanks, Anna. That's my wife's name. I'm James, by the way. You can call me Jay or James. So if you're ever addressing it, instead of just Tech, you can always say, hey, Jay or James. That's my real name. You know, or call me Tech. I don't care. But yes, I am interested in tech stuff. I'm not amazing at it, though. That's not in my wheelhouse. And I know it's like, well, why is your name like that? Well, it was a silly name my wife made. I'm learning it, though. I am actually starting to learn to code a little bit. I'm not fantastic at it. It's not in my wheelhouse, but I'm very, very determined when I'm interested in stuff because I want to hack drones. I want to get drones that can do stuff for me. A battlefield. You know what I mean? Like it's so cheap to get a hold of drones. What's up? Right? Get a hold, be able to hack. Like, have you ever seen that Michael Reeves guy? He's really crazy, and he hacked drones that could use facial recognition software to fly into. It was a silly build, but you're like, you came up with a system where the drones could identify your face and attack it. Right. Yeah, you've seen it. And you're like, that's really interesting. Like, William Osmond, oh, so good. Yeah. If you watch just Michael Reeves' channel, he does all sorts. He's this brilliant, absolutely, assassination drones or just response drones to you, right? He hacked a Siri once that would be able to issue his like commands to stuff. Like, there's nothing says you can't take that apart and put it into a helmet to activate on your voice. And if you could activate it to like send drones out for a drone strike, if you were pinned down in a situation, if you could weaponize drones, I know that's like terrifying in a lot of ways, but I'm talking about for me. You know, it's like, and we could put airsoft guns on it, not real ones, just for fun, just to see. It's like all of a sudden, that's an impressive thing. So there is a tech element. It's got to back north for me. Yeah, that would be a fun. I want to do that. I'm not saying it. This is futuristic, guys. This is very futuristic. I'm nowhere near capable of doing that. Nor do I have the time or the money to do that. And that's the problem. Yeah, just all sorts of stuff. Pop smoke. You know, cover your position. Even just create a distraction. If you were under gunfire and all of a sudden a bunch of drones swarming around your person, even if they weren't doing anything aggressive, people would be like, oh crap, what the heck are these drones doing here? Even if they were really small scouter drones, you know, with really small cameras on it. Like, there is a lot of ways you could potentially use it for a distraction to get you into a safe location. And you could carry it. Yeah, and I appreciate that. Yeah, it's like, it doesn't have to be lethal. Like, you don't have to look at it like, I want it to be a lethal whatever. It could be non-lethal. You know? Yeah, and it's totally doable. Especially when you watch some of that stuff that guy has done. You're like, and if he could do it, and he's not like a college graduate, he rocket sled. Bilbo Baggins. There's my wife. Tear gas? If money was no object, a thermal camera and LH. Yeah, don't let the feds steal your idea. Well, you know, by this point, you know, I put up all my ideas for free. And Bilbo Baggins. Okay. That I was going to do a rocket sled, and I had a bunch of failures with. I hear her laughing in there. Anyways. All right, going. Probably already going this. Yeah, for sure. These are just. I wanted. You can use. Yeah, our dog's name is Bilbo Baggins, and he's a beagle. That's yeah. That's who's commenting right now. Anyways, you can use. Okay, so let's talk tech real quick, right? If you if you had if you knew your location through GPS and you had an object, let's say a housing for all your drones, and it knew its location, right, separate from you. If you could triangulate where your opponent was, and there's laser distance finders you can buy. There's laser distance finders that you can buy that will tell you the exact distance you are from an object. So if you had that, and some of those are Wi-Fi, so you could relay that information. If you could use those 3 points, you could triangulate yourself and know exactly where your opponent is, right? In relativistic terms. So if you wrote some code for the drones to launch and to scout an area that they could use through trigonometry a triangulation. You get what I'm saying? So 3 drones, range finding, free predator missile inbound. Yeah, so you could because that's how it works. That's how GPS bounces coordinations, right? It's through triangulation. Trigonometry is like that's the king there, right? Everybody knows the Pythagorean theorem, right? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And that's just like the rudimentary. There's more complicated equations in there, but they're not that hard to master and to learn. So you can figure out the location. If you are aware of your location and the drone's location, that's one line. And if you can give so that's a squared. If you could tell b squared, c squared is given, right? From a right angle perspective. It's more complicated when you get into more complex triangulation. But there's nothing that a computer can't solve rapidly. So that was my idea, was like, okay, so could I hack one of these distance rangefinders that are not that expensive and come up with a bit of coding to tell we were supposed to have the same weapons as the military, but nowadays yeah, that's an honest point. Like, yeah, originally we had the same weapons as the military. I agree. But, obviously they're going to progress stuff faster because it's a military. I know, it's okay. That's why we're sitting in a garage sweltering trying to build HDPE armor that they probably have had for like the last 15 years. It's all right. In the end, there's still a lot more people than in America than there are, in the military and other things. You got to remember, there's a lot of people. So, but yeah, I know. I would love to just be able to pick the brains of some of those scientists and stuff that work for the military, though. Like, yeah, right? A Raspberry Pi. Faster because they only progress because they use tax money, yes. Yeah, no, I agree. Well, I mean, look at retired vets. Most of them would side with the militia. Or, for the people, I should say. They would side more for the people. Yeah, making pads, elbow pads. Yeah, well, they carry a lot of weight. That's one of the reasons why I was looking at lightweight armor to begin with, because the fact that the military, if you're already carrying around 30 pounds without armor, if you're just carrying around 30 pounds on your back, all your equipment, that is a lot of weight. A lot of weight. And then you want to throw 25 to 30 pounds of armor on? combined peace and military is North America's equivalent to a small city in the States. I'm confused exactly what you said there, but I think it was along the lines of what we were saying. Well, either way, we're steel armor. Yeah, well, steel armor is effective if you weren't moving. Oh yeah. It's not nearly as. All right, well, take it easy, Army Aloof TV. Oops. Yeah, most of them. Yeah, it depends on where you carrying close to the body. You don't have enough impact. Yeah, well, take it easy, man. Thanks for having me out on the live stream. We'll catch you on the next one. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, there's not nearly as many mentioning videos of the series was called something like Best Ever Made. I'll have to check it out. I've checked out a lot of people's. I wasn't trying to compete with other people's body armor that they made. I was just trying to give out my ideas, and I started looking at other people, and I'm like, oh, okay, they use ceramic tiles, they use steel, they use fiberglass. I'm like, yeah, okay. I was already buying Kevlar, Vectron, Spectra, like these types of armor to test. I wasn't really focused on like going into just kind of cheap, I guess you could say. And if it wasn't for a friend to suggest even testing it out HDPE, I wouldn't have never gone that route. I think looking at other people helps to get on. Yeah, for sure. Well, it also shows you I don't want to just copy everybody else's. Like the amount of times like, hey, just get a weld blanket and some resin. It's like, yeah, I've heard that, and I've seen that. He used a really good grade of fiberglass. That's like, what is it? I think it's not S class, E class. I think, or it is S class. That's tough stuff, man. That's higher grade than normal commercial grade. Well, blanket is a better grade. It's a tougher grade. It's a thicker grade. Fiberglass cloth, yeah. Yeah, versus cloth, fiberglass cloth. A well blanket is made out of a thicker material. It's usually there's two different grades of that you need to know. Copy from one person and it's plagiarism. Copy from 100 and it's innovation. Well, yeah, I guess that's true, but I'm trying to do my own thing. That's what it's. You know what? Hey, all right. Anyways, a well blanket is usually made out of a higher. Sometimes it's zinc coated too to resist burning, which is weird because you're like, why zinc? I'm not entirely sure, but it's fiberglass. It's a thicker grade. There's grades you can go through at a lot of composite websites. Just check it out, and it'll go from veil, thin plain weave, to thick S glass, E glass, and you'll see it like the gradients and the cost. Well blankets are a very, very thick, tightly woven fabric. Right? I've got some right here. Let me just 1 second. Let me find it. I have some because I was using it for insulation. All right. I don't know where my well blanket is, but here, let me. How do I? All right. So this is just typical fiberglass cloth, right? This is just typical fiberglass cloth. Where's my well blanket? I just had it for the polycarbonate video. Anyways, it's like twice as thick, and it's twice as heavy as just traditional fiberglass cloth. Strength to ratio fiberglass cloth would be better. Man, what do you want to make? That's what my question. Okay. Access resin can break a composite down faster. It's really dependent upon what you're trying to make. If you were just making a vest insert and it was the only thing you had was a well blanket, absolutely. I'm not dogging that idea. What I'm saying is I bought it because I wanted to test it just to see, and I started looking up what those grades are. It's very tough. It's a good grade. It's probably the best way to just you would find it. Yeah, so if by itself it's very effective at stopping ballistic threats. Clearly, I mean, he already ran those tests, right? And I would increase the grade of resin and test it again instead of using a cheap polyester resin. Like, what would it do if you used a high grade epoxy resin, right? Something like Max Bond. If you use something like this, that by itself will stop ballistic threats. That's why I use that Max Bond stuff. Like, it's very tough. Polyaramid epoxy resin mix. It's insanely tough. No, I do not think HDPE would be a better backer than polycarbonate, mainly because polycarbonate HDPE surprised me at how well it could stop bullets. Polycarbonate has consistently shown to be one of the strongest plastic I've ever worked with. ABS is also a good choice, but it's harder to work with. Polycarbonate's harder to work with. High density polyethylene is the cheapest route that has been effective that I've tried. That doesn't mean that there's something else out there that I haven't tried or that could work that I didn't do in the right way, because I tried styrene, I tried PET, I've tried a lot of different things. HDPE was just one of the most effective and surprised me. And every time I've tested it since then, it's surprised me. Like, if you watch those videos, I was like kind of blown away that it stopped that many freaking bullets. Right? Wait, where's the one that stopped the most? Right? It just kept polycarbonate with porcelain tiles and wrapped duct tape. Would that be a way to go? That's a good question. I don't know. I've never tried that, so I can't tell you. It depends on how thick your polycarbonate is, and depends on what grade porcelain you're using. Ceramic tiles. If you're using porcelain, I can try that. If you want to see it, just let me know. I'll make a note. I will make a note, and you know what? How about you guys just go ahead and just spit a few ideas? Yeah, you would like to see that? So okay, let's see. Polycarbonate, PO. What thickness do you want to try? Do you know? I'm just writing. Sorry. Tiles. And you want to maybe about a half an inch? Okay. Well, so I have. Yeah, okay, I could do that. I can now laminate layers together, and it'll pretty much become a uniform piece. I don't have any half-inch polycarbonate offhand. I have a few coming in, but I'm saving it for my bulletproof glass. With put two, so two tile. Okay, so two tiles, one on each side, and you just want it duct taped. You don't want it pressed into the polycarbonate at all, like heat pressed in. Ooh, that's a good idea, Broke Thing. Incorporate other people's material? Is what you're asking? Both in front. Okay, so two tiles in the front, duct taped on. I'll make a note of it. When I do my bulletproof glass. All right, hold on for 1 second, Zach. Turtle 3. I'm going to make a note. Glass. When I do my bulletproof glass video, P little shingle 2/4 inch. All right, so I'll incorporate that as a side note. At the end of the video, I will show that thing, because I have polycarbonate, and so I think the porcelain tiles need to be individually with duct tape so they don't shatter as much after being hit. Okay. I will wrap the tiles. When I do my bulletproof glass video, that one, okay, that'll be about 2 to 3 videos away. Look for your mention at the very end, Turtle 3, or should I say just Turtle. And I will add that because I have plenty of ceramic porcelain tiles. And I'll do a 1/2 inch, I should mention 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch sheet of polycarbonate. Alright? Now, Broke Fang Mage Punk. Will I incorporate it into other people's like pre-existing things? I don't know. I've never tried to do that. I've always tried to do by myself. Like hockey gear would be kind of neat. I could see that. That's already tough. Yeah, no problem, Turtle. If that's how, yeah, from Germany. Make sure to keep an eye out for that, bud. I'll make sure to add on. I'll just try it because I love polycarbonate. So to increase multi-hit on ceramic, use the smaller into breaking mosaic. Oh, so the really small pieces, what you're saying, Todd. I hate that it just drops. Zach, sorry, buddy. To increase multi-hit on the ceramic, use smaller pieces in a mosaic. Yeah, totally. When I do the arch shape of my vest, it will be done in really small. I have a special ceramic cutting blade for my Dremel, just for that. So totally, bud. Totally. I like band armor and scale armor, anyways. And that's kind of what I'm gearing up to do, is a full sheet of that. I think hexagonal porcelain tiles would be best. Yeah, I like that. I like small. Yeah, definitely. And it reduces the full fragmenting through a large plate for sure. I mean, you still want some of that to happen because that's why it's ceramic, but I like scale mail in general. But to finish what you were asking, Broke Fang Mage Punk, I mean, would you, if you want to see, hockey gear is already tough. I don't know how heavy it is. Maybe some football and hockey gear. That'd be kind of fun just to build off of, just to see. Yeah. We've almost gone for an hour and a half now, guys. And I have been off track and not on my game. Hopefully this has been somewhat enjoyable for you guys. We're almost at an hour and a half. And I've had consistently about 11 of you guys in the chat, so that's pretty cool. Next time I'm just not going to write anything. I'm just going to walk in hoping people show up and talk. So, it is so... Hi, Kaylee. Now my sister's commenting too. Yeah, it is really cool. It's cool that YouTube allows this to happen, man. This really is the future of, like, you know, putting yourself out there. I know my videos sometimes might be hard to watch because I haven't really planned them out, but I'm trying to change that. I want to improve my video quality. Even though it's stupid hot and I'm just sweltering out here in the garage, I really want to improve my video quality in the projects I work on, like with the bolas, the bow, you know, skateboards. I want to do a lot of different things, not just armor, but I will never not focus on making a ballistic armor. My goal is to stop the highest caliber round ever. That's what I look into. I look into nanotube infused resin. And when I see that that's on the market, I buy it. Like, well, can I get a hold of it? Can I get a hold of nanotubes? Do they really affect the structural integrity that much? Do they reduce the impact? You know, or do they increase the energy absorption? You know what I mean? I was planning if I use... Yes, definitely. Broke Fang Mage Punk, make all the videos you want. Just give me a shout out. Totally. Totally. I put this out there for the world to use. Use it as much as you want. All I ever ask for is a shout out. I would love that. I'll give you a shout out. Everybody check out Broke Fang Mage Punk stuff. He's about to make some stuff. Have you ever tried ultra high? Yes. So, this right here is made out of ultra high molecular weight polyethylene, which is just fun to say. That's what this was made out of. If you check out that video, Spectra Fabric. Hey, I can hear my dog. in the background wanting in. Sorry. That's what that is. Yeah, you can't mold it the same. You have to get it in a fabric form. But it's insanely tough. Insanely tough. And super strong. That mask stood like 15 shots from everything from a 357 Magnum to a 9 millimeter. No problem, Brokefang. You've always been a help. That shield I made is entirely, like, completely thanks to you, man. I appreciate that. That was a cool shield, and still one of my, like, I love building that. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun to figure out how to mold a huge sheet of polycarbonate without having a huge oven. Because you can't, if I can't fit it in my oven, it's like, well, how the hell am I gonna make this? Excuse my language, but it's like, oh, well, I can get a burn barrel and some ratchet straps. Why not? Let's just try it. And it worked. It worked. And it worked so well. It's like that was thanks to that dude who even suggested it. And now it's like, oh, I can make a lot of different shields that way out of stiff plastic, thick plastic, just a burn barrel. That's pretty interesting. But anyways, yeah, I've heard of ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. It's way stronger than high density by like a factor of 10. Yeah, check them out. There's 2 of them of my masks that I made, and that's what that's comprised of. Spectra 1000 grade, and you can order that on eBay, and other companies sell it too as a composite fabric. It's not easy to work with. It's not easy to wet out since what earlier is something that Skype where you can create channels for people to meet and talk. That's cool. Yeah, I'm still learning how to use. Like, I never planned. I just planned to share some ideas and see what people would think. We're over a next project idea, finished kitchen. Yeah, there's my wife trolling me again. Anyways, I'm almost finished with my kitchen, and here she is trolling me. Anyways, what was I gonna say? I didn't make this channel planning for a lot of people to view it. I was just kind of hoping that some people, kind of build a small community. I would love the idea of making something. Could you mask be improved by with a sheet of bulletproof glass and protection? Yeah, well, that's why I got this stuff. Wait, one more moment. Let me finish what I was going to say. So when I started this channel, my biggest focus was to just kind of get my name out there on stuff I was working with. I don't have a college degree. I work in a factory. This is just stuff that interests me. And I started making it, and I started stopping bullets. And I was like, well, I don't know if I should patent some of my ideas or if I should just kind of share it with the world. And now that I have like over 1,000 subscribers, we're almost up to 2,000 already, which is amazing. Even though there's only like 12 people in this chat, it's like people are going to watch this after the fact. And hopefully it doesn't look like garbage, or else I'll just delete it, and then we'll just remember. Us in the chat right now, we'll remember the time that I talked and I'm just sweltering. I don't have a degree, right? It's like, who needs it? Who needs it? Who needs it? But yeah, Brokefang, 1 second on the mask idea. But yeah, I just started uploading, like, yeah, screw it. And it was during that adpocalypse, and everybody was unsure, like gun channels, like whether or not they would be able to monetize. And I had no delusions that I would. What did you miss? A whole lot. Let's just say mostly HDPE and my wife trolling me. But one of the big things that I just wanted to share my ideas, and now that people are, don't worry, we'll talk about it in a second, AJ. One of the big benefits to putting stuff up on YouTube is that you guys comment back, give me ideas, give me suggestions, and I appreciate that because it's built better armor, in my opinion, and it's made me focus more on this. Like it's made me go, maybe I should focus on pursuing this. And now that I have a video over 60,000 views on, It's like, yeah. If you look at the guys that have millions and millions of views, that doesn't seem that impressive. But for somebody that's only uploaded, I think, a total of 20 videos, having 60,000 views is kind of nice. It's kind of impressive, right? But yeah, broke thing. So I just uploaded for that. If you guys want a Discord, I have a Reddit page. That's the other thing. Oh, I gotta mention that. I gotta mention that. So many people were asking about this. I'm going to make PDFs of all my projects that people ask about. So if you want a PDF that you can download that'll have pictures on it of how to mold high density polyethylene that I will type out, so that way you work with fiberglass all day. Yeah, but yeah, I want to make. Yeah, I like that idea. We could totally start a Discord group. I love that idea, and you know, and just keep building ideas together. That's why I reached out to begin with. That's why I put up these videos. I just like, oh, I'll just put stuff out there, and if people like it, then I'll keep uploading. And like, you can watch my analytics. It was like nothing, a little bit, and then, whoosh, and then it came back down. And I had a lot of personal problems, right? Yes, I will do PDFs for HDPE. That'll actually be the first PDF I do, and I'll make a link in the description of that project when I do high density polyethylene that you can download, and it will give you a step by step instruction on how to make your own plates. That's where that one went. Hold on. Plates that can stop bullets out of high density polyethylene. You'll be able to get that during that. I'm working on those right now. And bulletproof glass. Those are the two first ones. If you want them for any other projects, let me know, and I will type them out. I'll have them up on my Reddit page, but I'll link them here so you don't have to go to my Reddit page. But sorry. Yeah. I when I was watching it grow, when my YouTube channel started, um, I I, I had a good friend pass away, really close, and that really changed a lot of things for me because um, he was a big inspiration and he was just a really cool guy. He made his own armor, not bulletproof, but he made medieval armor, and so he was a big inspiration on how to design full plate mail and everything because he did it closest to the T. Old ballistic or not ballistic, God, old bullet or old armor, right? And he was fantastic out of steel and leather. He did like Lorica Sequentata, which is scale mail, Roman scale mail. He did the band mail, the Roman band mail. He did lamellar, I think it's called, the Japanese scale mail. And we would sit and talk for hours about making it out of modern day composites. And he was a big inspiration. And when he passed away, I just didn't care about doing it. That's why, like, literally, you see a gap from my bulletproof glass video for about 2 years, like a year and a half before I started uploading again because it was just like, well, after he passed away, I just didn't give a shit. I guess you could say I just didn't care, you know. But I'm back in it, and so, and I want to finish what I started, which is making a bulletproof vest that can stop the highest possible caliber rounds. And I think the only way to do that is to continue to test variables and continue to build it and build it in a way that you guys following this can build it yourself because there's no reason why I should build something that you can't build. There's no interest in in me to do that. That's why it sucks that you can't find Vectron fabric too much because I was really excited about that fabric, but you can't find it really anywhere. So it's like, well, what's the point of using it in a bulletproof shield or in gauntlets or greaves or cuirass, right? Pauldrons. What's the point of building it out of Vectron fabric if you, the viewer, can't get it? I want to build it out of stuff that you can get because then you theoretically could build it yourself. If you really wanted to, you could build it yourself, which is what this channel is like about, right? Is that this is something I can do, and I'm not some huge Harvard graduate. I figured it out myself. I tested stuff. I read stuff, and I worked on it. And I can do it. And if I can do it, then you can do it, right? So, and I'll help you as much as I can. And that's what this channel is about. So, if that makes sense. Any other questions? I think we'll probably end it pretty soon, right? There's about 12 people watching right now, but we should probably cut out here soon. Oh, you wanted how how does stopping 7.63 compared to ball? Are they 5.56 is more difficult usually. It's a higher velocity round. Speed kills armor. Size isn't as important. I mean, in some ways it is, but speed kills. 5.56, like the green tip ones, because you can always load the green tip, like the armor AP rounds, right, into a normal 5.56, and it will chamber and shoot. 7.62 is nothing to shy away from, though. That's what I use. I use an SK. I own a nice SKS. It's chambered in a 7.62 by 39. I love that round. It's a fantastic round. It's vicious, and they stop at about the same time. Woven, resin, put in a cured press work. Oh yeah, fiberglass would definitely. Is the round to stop. M855A1 is the round to stop. It's devastating on armor. All right, we'll look into it. I always wanted to stop a 50 cal with homemade armor, like something that's actually reasonable to wear. I know it sounds ridiculous, but wouldn't it be fun? Right? Because there's such a mythos around like the Barrett 50 cal. Wouldn't it be impressive to actually be able to say, hey, I did it. I could stop it. Yeah, I know it's going to be hard. I've seen it blow through like 3 to 4 sheets of stainless steel. But I have theories. All right, to buy half tiles worth of ceramic. I didn't say I'm going to do it tomorrow. What I'm saying is, what if we start from formula? What if we start from scratch? I've been working on homemade ceramics. Right? And I've stopped already. You guys haven't seen this. 5.56. You don't think it's possible? Well, thank you, AJC Doubting Thomas. Cursed prototype. I didn't say your goals don't have to be reasonable. If we can get up to a 30-06, I would be happy. That's what the best modern armor you could buy can stop, right? The best one on the market can stop a shot from a 30-06. If you can stop a 30-06, it's like, yeah, all right, you can think it's possible. Yeah, well, I didn't say I think it's possible. I don't I don't know. But what if we won't get into that. Yeah. Well, thank you, AJ. I'm messing with you anyways. Let's build up to it. There's no reason to be overconfident, right? Reasonable goal is to, silk and resin. Hey, silk was first used in body armor. The very first body armor ever made was made out of silk. For real. Like, yeah, what about spider silk? There's companies doing that. You can't get a hold of it right now, right? But it's being developed. And I started following a YouTuber, The Thought Emporium. I highly recommend checking him out. He was able to he started to make black widow silk with yeast by infusing it. I think the 308, 7.62 by 39, and 223 and 30 would be a good, yes, is and that's reasonable, right? That's a far more reasonable than the 50 cal. I'm saying I think that if I say, you know what, I'm not going to stop until I can stop a 50 cal. If I say that, then you'll just get videos forever, right? Or way in the future, right? A year and 2 years from now, I get a hold of some material and I'm like, hey guys, I stopped at 50 cal. And you would be the first to know if I could. I know I'm not going to be able to, but if along the way we stop a bunch of other rifle rounds that are more, you know, yes, weight, thickness, and coverage. Yeah, because you could eventually just make I remember reading years ago someone made a set of armor that was in. Yeah. Well, the problem with like milking, spiders, and like collecting enough spider silk is the spider farms you need in order to produce one vest is insane, right? That's why they started splicing goats with silk DNA, just so that they could produce more of that silk protein in their udders. Like seriously, that's why they did it. Yeah, goat's milk. Yeah. Well, no, they bioengineer it. And I've been following the Thought Emporium guy because he specifically has been working on a project where he would make spider silks out of yeast, and he's gotten really close. And he's just this small time biohacker, I think out of Canada. Fascinating stuff. He started working on silk proteins and enzymes. He made himself lactose, and he was lactose intolerant, and he made himself resistant to lactase and stuff. It's fantastic. Check out his YouTube, Thought Emporium, worth watching. Fascinating chemist, way beyond what I can do. But if yet again he does tutorials, and I'm like, interesting. He made nanotubes with a blender and other things. That's why I looked into him, because I'm like, what are you really like? What's your scope and what are you after? He makes some very entertaining things, and because he made a biofuel reactor, it made me want to revisit an old thing I wanted to do, where I used to make wine, and I was looking at his biofuel reactor, or like where he could, like, a bioreactor is something that can produce like a bacteria or a culture of something over and over and over again, right? It replicates it, and you can just extract it from this media where it's growing in a cultured cell, pretty much. And so you just add nutrients, air, CO2, whatever, and it just continues to grow in nauseum, and you can extract out of it. I wanted to make a cell, pretty much, that could produce biofuel, algae, diatoms, that I could then process into biodiesel. And I wanted to do that in my backyard with some old tanks that I have, transparent tanks. And I think it would actually not be that hard of a setup. And I was kind of curious if you guys were interested in that sort of stuff, we would go into biofuels, because that's something I am really interested in, is chemistry and microbiology. I actually have a really nice microscope set up in phase contrast downstairs in my basement, because it's something I'm fascinated with. I love looking at spores and mushrooms and bacteria and stuff. But it is a trinocular port, so I can actually buy a camera to stick down in there so you guys can see all the paramecium and amoebas and stuff that I look at. If you guys are ever interested in that sort of stuff, please let me know, and I will, add something else to the YouTube roster. Right now, it's mostly focused on building armor and gadgets, but maybe we'll go into biofuel and biodiesel and, biokerosene and things like that, and how to produce it yourself at home. That'd be kind of interesting. So, all right. Well, I think I've sweated it out enough that even though there's 13 people watching. Any last questions, guys, before I head off? Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I'm fascinated with so many things. I don't want to. I just I'm my brain's constantly going. That's probably why my videos look so sporadic and spontaneous. Do you plan on doing the next stream? Every first Friday. Every first Friday from this point on, we will do a stream. And hopefully next time I'll have an actual camcorder set up in my computer. No, monthly. I can't do this weekly. With my kid and everything, would you guys want it bi-weekly? Or bi-monthly? Jesus. Bi-monthly? I could do it twice a month, maybe. But definitely, all right, so yeah, let's talk about that real quick. um, obviously I have a kid now. I have a full-time job, and I want to produce this stuff as much as possible. But you know, time is limiting. Family goes over YouTube. Yes, exactly. But there's something here, man. I'm really having a lot of fun making this stuff. You know, even out, I'm sweating out here in like 90-degree weather just to talk to you guys. um, but I'm having a lot of fun producing these videos. Even if my videos haven't looked that good. Look at this mask! I made this for this channel. I love it. This is probably the prettiest thing I've ever made, and this video was awful. I don't know how people watched it. I didn't plan it out. But now, from now on, I'm going to try to plan out my videos. Seriously. But yes, I want to do a monthly live stream. It'll be the first Fridays at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Okay? Guaranteed. I'm going to do a weekly update every Monday. Every Monday, I'm going to do a weekly update. Those are two things I for sure will do from this point on. My projects, some of them, when we get into making a full suit, I'm going to have to break it up and do like, okay, this week we're doing pauldrons and shoulders, right? So like pauldrons to elbow, right? This week we're going to do the cuirass, right? The chest guard with everything. This week we're going to do the greaves and shin guards. Next week we're going to do shins and gauntlets. Next week we're going to do the mask or helmet. If we do a full armor, there's no way I could do, unless you want to wait for like, you know, like 2 months because of my time to produce it. It just, and then we would go out and shoot it. But I think what we can do when we get into full suit builds, because that's the goal, is I want to build a full suit of armor. I haven't seen a lot of people do it on YouTube, and it's going to be practical. My biggest thing is I'm practical over aesthetics. I want to still look cool. Like that mask looks really cool, but the functionality is that it's a respirator, right? It functions as it seals up. You could survive chemicals coming at you. Your matching sets get a bonus. Exactly. You got to do the full matching set, man. But I really want to do a full suit of armor because I haven't seen it. I want to do a shield that can stop high caliber rounds. I haven't seen any YouTubers do that. Like they just make a plate. It's like, yeah, here, check it out. Look how cool it is. Subscribe, and you're like, yeah, that's awesome. And that's what I've been doing, right? But at least I have a mask that stops bullets, and it's like, yeah, that's wearable, right? But I've been guilty of that too. Well, not anymore. I'm getting into actually making fully functioning armor. That's the goal. That's the end goal of this channel, is that you'll be able to tune in and be like, hey, today we're going to make high density polyethylene plates, 6 by 12 inch side things, and 10 by 12 inch chest and back plates. And here, let's stitch together an actual insert. So you can, you know, like a vest, you can insert it in. Boom. Out of nylon or a hoodie. Why not? Right? I love the idea of having a concealed armor where people don't know that you're wearing armor. I love that idea. I love it. And so when we get into full vest videos and full, please give up, and stinks. You can smell it? You can smell it through the camera? I love vaping. I'm sorry. Here, I'll put it down. I didn't think it looked cool. I don't do it because it looked cool. I've been smoking since I was 16. I'm 32. I'm 31, sorry. I'm about to be 32. I'm 31 right now. I was smoking cigarettes since I was 16. Vaping is the closest I've ever gotten to quitting smoking. It took years. I tried to quit numerous times. I couldn't. I smoked until I was about 26, and then I switched to vaping. And I started at 9% nicotine, then I stepped down to 6% nicotine, and now I'm down to 3%. And it's taken years. So I understand, though. I don't do it because I do it because I'm addicted. There's a big difference. I do it because I'm addicted, and I can't go an hour and a half without vaping a little bit, except at work, you know. So now it's time to stop. Yeah, I agree. I'm working. Well, now that I have a daughter, now that I have a daughter, I have a significant motivation to quit vaping. Well, keep me up on it. You know what? Next month when I do it, you can call me out if I'm vaping still. How about that? All right. Yes, please. All right. We'll see what we can do. All right. Anyways, guys, you're one of my early subscribers too. If there's a haze, would be would it be a good personal goal? Yeah, yeah, I would. I used to. I used to. No, that would be cool. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I've made it so far. Like I've stepped down from 9 to 6 to 3. It's taking a long time to step down from 9 to 6 to 3% because that's one thing I do like about vaping over smoking cigarettes is like you could be like, oh well, I only smoke 5 cigarettes today, but you don't know your nicotine content of just 5 cigarettes, right? But I know if like once a week I buy a bottle of oil, right? And it's like, okay, $20 for a single bottle of oil, and that's all you're allowed per that week, right? Like I'm not going to buy any more. That's just what I buy once a week. It's one bottle, 100 milliliter of oil, and you can control that nicotine content. I like that functionality better than smoking anyways, because then I know for sure, like, okay, well, if for 7 days this is all I have, this is all, then I know the exact nicotine content I'm getting for those 7 days. Does that make sense? So once I step it down, it's like for sure I've only had this much nicotine for a week, and it really has helped. If you're trying to quit, I personally believe, because I tried gum and everything else, and it just didn't. Chantix, it gives you nightmares. It gives you horrifying nightmares. Forget Chantix. Yeah, well, I also undercoat for a living, so when it comes to what I didn't, my lungs didn't stand a chance against this coronavirus. When I came in, I was just like, well, bring it on. No, I'm just kidding, but no, I mean vaping liquid, yeah. But yeah, no, Chantix gave me nightmares like like walking nightmares, like terrifying. I tried it. It gave me those, and the doctor even warned, like, oh, it might give you nightmares, but it'll help you quit smoking. It's like, okay, all right, I'll give it a shot. I took it. It was very expensive, insanely expensive, most expensive medicine I've ever tried. And yeah, it helped curb the appetite, the cravings, but you would have like sleeping delusions. Yeah, you too, man. Take it easy. And it was awful. Anyways, let's get back to not talking about me smoking and vaping. I think it's a ball of gold. Realistic DIY covered full body armor solutions. Do it all instructions. Stay focused and not burn out. Oh well, yeah. I'm still streaming just for a second, but yeah. Thank you. I want to do full body armor, and it's not easy to not burn out. You're right, but we're gonna keep at it. Which time is it over at my state? I'm not entirely sure. Probably about, let's see, 5, 6, 7, about 7 o'clock. So, all right, guys, I gotta wrap this up though. It is about 7, almost 7. Yeah. Thanks, moderator Anna. Anyways, guys, all right, man. Yeah, take it easy, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and head off there. But yeah, full suits of armor on the way. I'm glad we had this conversation, even if it looked awful. We'll get it together. Take it easy, guys. All right, almost one. Well, partying. Take it easy, Broke Fang. Later, guys.